we turn that bye into hello. I know how to love you now. No matter what I do, I can't let go. I don't know how to forget you. I can't forget you. You're always on my mind. I do the things that I should do, so I can't forget, but you're always on my mind. Thought you'd be gone by tomorrow, but you're still there tomorrow, and the next day, the next day. I wish I wouldn't remember how you make me feel better in the best ways, the best ways.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the London Invite, our first mixed division action of the day with the Barramundis, the Australian mixed national team, taking on Reading from not too far down the road. Benjamin Rees back with you, and my revolving door of commentary co-hosts has turned up the wonderful Sam Murphy for this one.
Good to be here, Bench. Excited for this one. Barramundis may be coming off a slightly disappointing weekend at Windmill. Obviously a team with high expectations, so excited to see them bounce back and see how Reading get on without a few of the big mixed players. So.
Yeah, with GB mixed as well in this slightly smaller mixed division, only 4 teams compared to 8 for the open and women's sides. That there is I think you would, on paper, certainly back the Barramundis for this one, but they've still certainly got some kinks to work out early on in the season for them, of course, because the goal is not London Invite, well, as much as they'd love to take home the crown. The goal is, of course, the World Ultimate Championships on the Gold Coast in 3 months' time.
Yeah, interesting to see Australia making the trip to Europe for almost a couple of weeks. I imagine they must have arrived a few days before Windmill to acclimatise. I think if I was living in Australia and the World Championships was at home, I don't think I'd be travelling halfway across the world. But yeah, it'd be interesting. It's great to see them out here. It definitely adds some flavour to the mixed division, so excited to see. I was watching the show games last night. It seemed like this pitch got pretty windy. Has it been windy so far?
It a little, but nowhere near to the extent that it was yesterday evening, which I think is for everyone's benefit.
Yeah, we want to see some high-flying Frisbee here, so good that there's no major wind interrupting.
And while we think of, the luxurious weather on the Gold Coast, that you have to prepare for all weathers, because you never know what it will be when you actually get out there, and you can prepare for, sun, sea and sand, although probably not sea and sand on a grass tournament, but you know what I mean. Prepare for lovely weather, and then if it blows a hoolie all week, then all of a sudden you're not in a great position.
We certainly, I think, all remember Limerick last year. Best laid plans out the window as soon as game 1 comes around and it's 40km/h wind. So, yeah, got to prepare for everything. Looks like Barramundis starting on defence here, first pull up.
And we'll see Reading's O-line go to work. Brew. Blaze to Colicchio. Reading not really going anywhere to start this possession, and you felt like the turnover was coming because it was becoming a real slog for them, and Reading have given the Barramundis the disc on the end zone line.
Yeah, incredible hand block there. Great pressure from the defence. Lots of talk from the sideline as well. So Barramundis coming out with a lot of energy to start. We'll have a short field possession to try go up a break early.
Fowler goes round, but just leads too far into space despite Ramadan's best efforts.
Yeah, big mark from CJ Colicchio there. Hard man to throwing around, backhand around, so nice asset to have in front of the end zone for your defense.
He is a big fella, to put it mildly. And he catches the deep put there. Got eyes for the end zone, but can't quite see it yet. Jeffrey goes short, back to Colicchio, and now Jeffrey putting the break throw up to space. And Reading pop up and bring it down with Joe Brown for the score. And that'll get them on the board, 1-0. Not a clean hold, but it was a hold at the least.
Yeah, really interesting there. I think one of the points of intrigue when watching the mixed division for me is always how teams throw different defensive looks, and it seemed like the Australians came out with a bit of a junk look, playing some kind of zone to start and transitioning. Always interesting to see how they approached the gender matchups there. It seemed like the Australians had a couple of the male matching players on the wing and female matching players middle and deep, so good to see that early. Interested to see. It seems like a real potential advantage if your team can figure out how to do it, because certainly from playing in the mixed division last year, not many teams figured it out well, so interested to see how that progresses over the course of the game.
Reading on the board with the hold to start.
Looks like Hoagie on the pole here.
Playing D-line rather than O-line.
Never too late to make the change.
It's a big pull, but I think the edge is going to take it out of the far side of the end zone. It will indeed. And Chodos will bring it to the brick mark.
Hoagie will be disappointed with that one. Certainly prides himself on his pulling ability, and I'm sure he'll rein them in as the game goes on, but he'll want to put some pressure on with his pulls if he's moving over to D-line.
Frustrated with the freebie he's given.
Yeah.
Chodos goes back. The Barramundis struggling to free themselves downfield. Chodos across to Evans. Now Kaidi Yoshida. To Evans, wanted to step into the big booming flick huck, but goes shorter instead. But back to Yoshida. And now Halden. Neglecting the disc back off Day. Halden shooting down the far sideline. And it took them a bit of time to get into a rhythm, the Barramundis, but once they did, Reading couldn't keep up.
Yeah, it seemed like Hoagie played some good defense off the start there. They tried to sweep one of the male matching players across, and he had him locked up for a second. Once they got the female matching players involved, started to find a bit more flow. Really interesting to see Kaide Yoshida playing for Australia here. As far as I'm aware, she played with Japan at the World Games last year, so making the switch over to Australia for Worlds this year, looking like a key part of the offense already, so taking no time to settle in.
Yeah, it is based down under now, and obviously, perhaps unable to make the commitment to train with Japan, and deciding that switching allegiances to the Australians. And I must say, it's weird seeing Australia in white. Just something that feels wrong about it.
Yeah, of all the colours that they have.
Wouldn't be my choice, at least, but I wonder if this is just kind of for these warm-up tournaments, so they'll get the full Australia kit by the time we get to the Gold Coast in a few months' time. You've got to be green, you've got to be gold, maybe a push navy blue.
Yeah, I'm all about that gold for Australia. One of the nicest kits in Ultimate, so I'm sure they are saving it.
Trying to sag into the middle of this defense. Brew finds the inside window to Colicchio. Colicchio. That's a Brown. Back to the mustachioed Colicchio. Garnier in the centre. Male matching players getting the bulk of the touches in this point. Colicchio to Jeffrey, who bobbles but catches. Jeffrey blading down the line to space for a little bit of showboating from Colicchio for the score.
Yeah, nice defense from Australia, stopping the around throws, forcing Reading to look upfield, but Reading finding ways out of tough situations. Colicchio breaking free up line there. Great to see Hannah Brew playing with Reading. Is this her first year playing?
It is, yes.
Such a great thrower to have starting off your offense. It definitely felt like the wind picked up a little bit at the start of that offensive possession, so nice to have someone so controlled, just marshalling out there. But yeah, good from Reading so far to find the answers to the Australian pressure.
So games, the hooter comes on at 70 minutes, you finish the point, and if it's won or tied after that, you play a standing cap plus one. If it's not, then the game just ends at that point. So a bit like we had at Windmill last weekend, which means that you cannot afford to let a side go out to a big lead early. The weather a little bit changeable here in West London. Not overly far from Heathrow Airport, so there will be a few low-flying aircraft overhead.
Yeah, I was promised nothing but sun this weekend.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's on you.
For the first time ever in my life, I didn't even pack rain gear against my better judgment, and it's already rained, so that'll teach me.
Yoshida. Kem's drawn that toughest of matchups. And now down the sideline, it might float a little, but it's not a problem for Ashley Evans to rip down at Australia with another clean hold. It feels like both sides selling into a good offensive rhythm early on here.
Yeah, it's nice to have almost an automatic downfield option with Kaede Yoshida just breaking free each time, but some of the female matching players on Australia really creating lots of separation here and continuing up to the male matching players for the finishes so far, but Australia looking maybe slightly more comfortable. I'm sure the defenses will both want to ramp up the pressure as this game goes on.
Yeah, first action of the weekend for both these sides, so you know, you'll be forgiven for maybe getting a little bit of time to work out some of those kinks. Obviously for the Barramundis, they were at Windmill last weekend, whereas Reading, we've seen them a little bit. Of course, they were at the Elite Invite a couple of months ago now. Big slap of hands with your compatriot there.
Yeah, the Irish connection.
There's a fair few Irish lads over here this weekend.
Yep, there's quite a few playing Barbarians. There's some on, I guess, different teams now. Hoagie, I think, playing GB Open Masters this year. So first time making the switch over to playing with GB. Had the luxury of playing him at Wind Farm, and they looked like a pretty decent outfit. Interesting to see the Canadian Open Masters team making the trip over as well. I'm not 100% sure what tournament they're all preparing for.
I think World Masters is in November in LA or around there.
Oh, lovely.
Not necessarily LA. Bickle went to catch the pool and then decided, actually, you know what, I think I'm maybe better off just leaving this. Ray going wide. That's now Lou. Wanting something a little bit closer but not seeing it. Sends it instead to Nedic. And now Roberts. Very different looking O-line this from Reading. And maybe that's been their undoing, because throwing to a cut that was double covered, good flash in there to get the block.
Yeah, really impressive defense from the Australian female matching players so far. Lots of people with their heads up away from the disc, leads to the flash block. Oh.
As Palmer down the line against her former teammates, couldn't quite squeeze it in.
That's got to be the toughest place to throw on the pitch, that downwind sideline, trying to keep the edge correct, but great effort to try and cash in the break. See Australia trying to apply some more pressure now for the second offensive possession for Reading. Not a fun place to bring the disc in.
Not quite, no. Big swing across to open the possession to Ray. Ray looking a bit isolated, still count rising, looking deep for the bailout. Elliot Cook was all over it. On the end zone line now, the Barramundis surely can get the first break here, but going a little bit slower. Fowler wide. Dunmore finds Cook, and that is the first break of the game. It goes the Barramundis' way. They lead 3-2.
Yeah, lovely lefty flick for the score there. Love watching that throw. Australia really impressive with their heads-up defense downfield, creating a lot of chaos, especially around the disc. The wind isn't so much that short throws are difficult, I would say, but certainly for boosting it 40-50 yards, you're going to need some of your stronger throwers, so smart of them to kind of compress around the disc and force Reading to try and take those overhead shots, leading to some Ds so far.
So this pitch is oriented perpendicular to those behind us. So what would be a crosswind on one of those fields is upwind, downwind here. The wind's kind of predominantly going from left to right and kind of coming from behind the camera, so towards that far back corner you can see there. Nothing too strong, but a thrower's wind I think they would suggest. Where kind of the peak distributors would still back themselves to deal with these conditions, certainly.
Yeah, 100%. If this is a Ranelagh game, they're telling me to put those big throws back in the locker, leave it to the throwers. Just dump and churn.
Kelsey picks up from the floor. Nice downfield throw there to Hagan. Kelsey, again, not seeing the instant movement. Going wide to Powell on that far side. And now Wong. Through the centre. And it's going to just roll and slide to a stop on the end zone line. Was looking for Hagan and it just popped up a little bit at the wrong moment for her. Australia, they're looking to extend their advantage. Lefty, Stoddard. To Timocles Copeland. Past the bidding defender. Tried to mark it into the end zone, but that was not the line, my friend. Tossing that one up there for Copland. And Australia beginning to pull away a little bit. Still close, but Reading at the moment struggling to cope with their opponents, 4-2.
Yeah, 100%. It's interesting, one of those where you look back at that attempted hop in later on the stream and you realise that you were actually 5 meters away from the end zone line and feel a little bit silly, but good effort. Australia, once they got moving forward, Reading struggled to apply any pressure, so Australia's defensive offense looking impressive, but yeah, hopefully Reading can start to turn it up a little bit. Yeah.
So much funnier in slow motion.
Yeah.
But to his credit, I think he knew.
He knew.
He knew.
We'll let him know.
And if we don't, I'm sure all his teammates will. But on the end zone line then, Dang just tosses this one up there for Timocles Copland for the score. You don't see many Timocles, do you?
No, not the most common name in Ireland anyway, but maybe a little more common in Australia.
What is the most common name in Ireland?
That's a tough question. Female side, maybe Mary.
Oh yeah,
Lots of
oh yeah,
Marys.
100%.
It's not Samson anyway, that's what I know.
Are you actually a Samson rather than a Sam?
Yep.
Wow. It's bold, I like it. Ready, field that ball awkwardly and they're going to start right from the back of their own end zone. a floater, but Brew has time, and Brew guns it, doesn't want to be stuck deep on her own end. Galicchio rises highest, and then leads Brown into space for the score. If you're in a jam, sometimes you can always just bang your way out of it.
100%. A bit of a lackadaisical approach to fielding the ball there, going for a few kick-ups potentially from Brew, but shows why she's calm and composed in that situation. Gets the disc back on the swing and launches a flick hook to CJ Galicchio, who comes down with it. Easy offensive point for Reading after a great pull and great chase from Australia. They'll be disappointed to not apply a little bit more pressure, but a nice settler from Reading there. Get their offense flowing, get the defense back on the field.
Yeah, often it feels like when you pin someone in back there that the deep look is only a matter of time before it comes, because you're desperate not to give the short field turn.
Yeah, 100%. You got to go all out for the Callahan there. Such a momentum switching play that why not try and apply the pressure, but maybe have someone hang back for the deep look that's inevitably going to come.
Yeah, the Callahan's also cool as all hell.
Exactly.
Which is the important thing. No one cares how good it actually is for the the whole script of the game, but you just look good.
Exactly. What are we here for?
Exactly. What's the point of ULTI.TV filming and streaming stuff if it's not to make you out there look good?
Don't I know it?
By the way, we're expecting royalties from that EUCF MVP.
Oh yeah. All that money that's coming in from it.
They don't have to know the truth. A simple drop there from Phillips. Hogan picks up, and he's gunning it as well. Trying to fade it over towards that far side, but Zach Chodos with a skyscraping grab. Day sees Bub in the centre of the field. Bub gets it off back to Chodos. Day showing the high release but shelving it. Chodos once more with the stall count rising. Just goes laterally. Yoshida. You can see her begin to pull back and wind up, but without the deep option really developing. Goes short instead, and now Yoshida at midfield.
Let's go, Connor Hogan!
Has Evans. A couple of yards away. And Evans finds the scoring pass to Chodos. I wanted to say he was on the 22-metre line because he is, but obviously the 22-metre line is it's kind of irrelevant when it's actually only like 3 metres out.
Yeah. But I mean, we're playing at a rugby club. We can give them some shout-outs. Some nice defence from Reading there. One of the most frustrating things I would have experienced on D is being in that position that Hoagie was in there on the deep shot, where you're actually positioned well to take away a perfectly thrown hook, but when it's slightly underthrown, there's perhaps not much of a play to make because it's coming in too fast. You could see the frustration on Hogan's face as he couldn't make the play, but yeah, nice work from Australia. Yoshida, unbelievable thrower, really didn't look like there was any wind when she threw that backhand hook, so impressive stuff.
Yeah, her mechanics I think are just so fundamentally sound. I love watching Kaini Yoshida play. As, let's be honest, I think everybody does.
100%. World Games level players, some of the best to watch.
Who knew? I've just had an emergency delivery of food, so I'm very happy. I need someone to take a time out so I can have it.
The halftime 20 nugget challenge.
Maybe when I'm at full flow potentially, but as you can probably hit when I'm a little bit nasal and stuff, I don't think I could quite chow down at that pace. Jeffrey catches under pressure, and now Garnier slap bang on the halfway line. That one doesn't change, thankfully. Jeffrey slinging it to Bignell. Bignell to Garnier. And that was pretty hot to trot there from Reading.
Yeah, moving the disc nicely from side to side, hitting both sides of the pitch. Carrier is another one that I haven't seen play with this Reading team. I think I was watching a lead invite, perhaps a newer player on the squad, but has obviously made a big impact. This throw from Jeffrey really breaks open the whole point, but it's a big null to Carrier for the goal then. Reading have definitely found their rhythm here, which is great to see. We'll see which kind of defensive unit can step it up and start to apply some additional pressure now as we get closer to half.
Just under 25 minutes gone, with the cap coming on at 17 minutes, but still games to 15 if you get there.
And is this a round robin format for mixed, or how are we doing 4 teams?
I believe it's round robin and then semis finals.
Okay.
So every team in every division plays 5 games, although even if the format's a little bit different. So you will play at least 2 teams twice, which is a little bit unusual, but for very capable mixed sides here this weekend, with the national teams of Australia and Great Britain, and then 2 of Great Britain's traditional mixed powerhouses. The pull from Greer spins and fielded by Halden. Jonas faking downfield. Yoshida comes back towards the disc and Yoshida guns it. It's going to float. It's going to be the battle here. Greer tried to come over the top of Day, and Day couldn't reel it in.
Yeah, impressive defense from Greer there. Day definitely boxing out well and almost looking to draw the contact. I thought Greer did a great job of avoiding any contact just so there was no bailout foul call. And to be fair today as well, not calling the little bit of contact that did come in the end. So good defense, and now Reading have a chance to level it up.
Stoppage away from the disc. Powell catches under pressure. Looking quite isolated before Hogan comes under, and Hogan's gunning it again this time. Looking for Cowsley, but Ashley Evans was inevitable in the end. Chodos. I must say, looks like he's been warmer. That snood pulled up over his hat. Howden back to Chodos. Evans floating this one. Who's going to get on the end of it? Fisherday rises and plucks in front of his teammate Bub, and it flips to her for the score, and 6-4.
Yeah, a little lucky from Australia there. Maybe leaning back a little bit too much on that inside flick going upwind. Popped over the initial receiver, but Fisherday, Johnny on the spot, getting there first and avoiding body contact thanks to his teammate Shannon Bubb, who then, as a note of thanks, goes and gets the goal for herself to finish off the point. So 6-4, Reading not cashing out. I suppose that's why you bring Hoagie over to the D-line, though, is to have that throwing power on the turn. And to be fair, a great defensive play from Australia to get there and make up the ground on the hook. So good shot from Hoagie, but Reading will be ruining the missed break chance there.
They've definitely given Hoagie the license to shoot on the turn, haven't they?
100%. Why wouldn't you?
You know what? That's a very fair point. Seeing there Fisherday, who would be disappointed to have dropped the previous deep shot, but made amends for it in the end. It's the thing you say is sometimes, as as a player at this level, you have to have that kind of selective memory where you remember the good stuff you did, and when you make a mistake, just park it, move on, and trust that you'll get it back.
Yeah, definitely a sign of some of the top players being able to just shake off any mistakes that they do make and go ahead and take the shot on again. Oof.
As that time Reading again having a little bit of trouble fielding the pull cleanly. The first pass Dean away, and then punched in with the very next throw. Inez Ruiz makes it 7-4, and Australia beginning to create a little bit more daylight.
Yeah, they've been clinical for the most part, cashing in on the short field turns, especially 2 or 3 so far that they've managed to get at that end zone. Reading getting turns, but kind of further down the pitch and having to work it down. So Australia managing to open up a little bit of a gap. It looks like a timeout's being called here as we go towards half. If Australia can get another break here, they'll take it into half.
Yeah, 7-4 then. Australia leading mixed division action here at London Invite.
Always on the move? You can keep up to date with ULTI.TV on all of our social media channels. Like, follow, subscribe, share us with a friend, or send us a message just to say hey. Thank you for supporting us in our mission to grow Ultimate everywhere.
We are Hive Ultimate, a group of players and coaches from all over the world working together to progress the next generation of Ultimate strategy. We've helped top teams win world championships and new teams introduce the sport in a fun and inclusive way. Search for Hive Ultimate on YouTube to learn more about our cutting-edge strategies and to see analysis of world-class teams. To find out what Hive can do for your team, head over to our Patreon page where you can gain access to our exclusive drills and session plans and to join our worldwide community of coaches. Get ahead of the curve with Hive Ultimate.
Nova Scotia Electric, become a member.
(7-4) here in our first mixed division round of the day at the 3rd edition of the London Invite, back at the Grasshoppers Rugby Club in Osterley, West London. A very congested Benji Reese alongside Sam Murphy.
Not congested today, thanks to Benji Reese. I think there was a high pollen count called on the stream yesterday, which double antihistamine for me this morning. So thanks for that heads up, Benji.
Yeah, I went the same double antihistamine route and it did not pay off for me inevitably, but I'm glad I was able to help someone. Greer's error gives Australia the opportunity to break into half. Fowler toes the wrong line. And then punches it in. The two Brits combining for the Barramundis. Fowler to Bex Palmer, who scores against her former teammates. And Australia will take an 8-4 lead into the interval.
Yeah, Australia looking good on all parts of the game except figuring out which lines they actually need to toe. That's the second time one of the Australian players has tried to toe a line that is pretty far away from the end zone. So maybe something to talk about at halftime, but not much else. Looked like Reading gave their D-line a run on O there, despite the timeout call and an early mistake. They'll be disappointed with that first half. It seemed like there wasn't as much between the teams as the scoreline might suggest, so hopefully they can steady the ship, but we'll see after half-time.
Yeah, you wonder if that maybe a little bit of extra depth from the Australians is giving them the leg up in this contest. 8-4 there, the Barramundis lead Reading. Half-time here at London Invite.
We are a group of ultimate players, coaches and video enthusiasts. We've worked with the major federations and the greatest events.
We're on a mission to make Ultimate huge. We want our videos and live streams to be free to watch.
We want to make stories that not only reach you,
but also reach people outside the Ultimate community.
Like and subscribe, ULTI.TV, the best in the world.
Become a member and
fund
fund
our work to cover more events in the future and to bring more stories and live coverage to the eyes of the Ultimate world and beyond.
Enjoying the show? Show your support for the live stream and the people making the show. Buy a super chat or super sticker on YouTube directly. Select your donation and type your message to the world. And share. All donations go into directly funding new shows. Buy a super sticker or super chat now. Thank you.
Those who do not know their history can never relive it. The skies, the dives, the sideline smiles. Our past is held in photo albums, drinking stories. The present is a gift. And here at ULTI.TV, we want to make sure we always appreciate it, capturing the immortal moments of Ultimate from around the world and making sure everyone can enjoy them for free, forever. Because the future belongs to all of us. The ultimate things in life are free, and we're keeping it that way. Subscribe to keep up with the latest games, tournaments, and community content. Share it with your team and friends, and drop a like to help spread Ultimate to more people. Spread the word, spread the love. ULTI.TV.
(8-4) Australia up on Reading, half-time in our first mixed round at the London Invite. We've been kind of having a scan across some of the other results from the previous two divisions as well. Good win for Gravity, 14-11 over Iceni.
Yeah, definitely. I think Gravity maybe taking a more developmental approach early in the year at the couple of tournaments they've been to so far. That's just from the outside looking in. But a 14-11 win is big over Iceni that have started the year with a lead invite, one of the, I would say, considered top 8 teams in Europe. So nice to get a win on the board. Yeah, Yaka coming out dominant, LMU looking strong as well, and Bristol 15-6 over 6. So some interesting result from the women's division so far.
In the open division, I think the standout result there is the Barbarians ransacking France 15-8.
Yeah, I mean, that's what all the training's for. No, I think a lot of talented Frisbee players playing Frisbee together and not putting too much pressure on themselves, but France definitely look like a strong team that are close to figuring out their systems. So I think they'll progress. We're probably lucky to get them early in the weekend.
It's very magnanimous of you. The Barramundis starting the second half with the disc as well. Just compounding the misery. Stoddard. Centres to Brereton. Zipping one into the gun of Dang. Back to Brereton. He's putting a bit of air underneath it. Seeing the opportunity, can Hogan close the gap? Not quite in time. I'm not sure that Davey was able to toe the line there. Stoddard is his release valve. Trying to get themselves maybe a little bit of lateral space, but they're going backwards to do it. Nearly able to flash in Kemp and get the block, but not quite there. And committed to it when she didn't get there. Just opened up that little bit of break space. And Brereton down that far sideline, or the near sideline even, for the score.
Yeah, Reading applying a little bit more pressure there, it looked like. I do think it's a kind of two different approaches to defense so far from what I've seen. Reading choosing to go a little bit more, just win your matchup. Australia playing a little bit more heads up. I did think Hogan might have a play on that deep shot, but I think it faded a little bit and he made the smart play to not make a bid. Probably would have been a good amount of contact there, so fair play to Hoagie for pulling out of that one. But Australia managing to deal with the pressure pretty well. They look pretty composed on disc, so impressive stuff from their offense going upwind.
Yeah, Hogan and Davey is a relatively meaty matchup.
Yeah.
So had there been a collision, it could have been quite a hefty one.
Yeah, I think Hoagie, someone who's been on the receiving end of a few bigger hits, so well aware of what it can do to someone and making the smart choice for everyone's longevity there.
It's less flashy, but how many times do you see collisions like that and you think, did you really need to go? Did you really need to try and? Yeah.
Yep. You can ask my collarbone about that one.
Hey, your collarbone's fine. You played at Euros.
I did. Just a little bit.
Don't know what everyone was worried about. Brew kicks the disc to stop the roll. Bounces it off Colicchio, and it looks like they might power him all the way deep from the handler spot. But charging right through the centre of the pitch with other players in there, the pick occurs.
Yeah, nice look there. Interesting set play to have Brew centre to Colicchio, get it back, and then Colicchio to try and draw some people deep. But seemed like a pick in the stack, just killing any momentum. Reading have to get going again now.
Roberts finds the inside window through to Nedic. Nedic's squealing down the sideline for Brew. Brew gunning it over the top. Players in the area, tipped by Roberts, and he couldn't get a second attempt at it.
A great defensive play from the Australians there. Interesting to see Brew, as soon as she makes that catch going upwind, it's almost like she knows where the space is going to be. Not looking down the line at all, just directly looking crossfield and putting it up with almost no hesitation. That's the muscle memory of playing at the top level for a long time. She knows where the space is going to be, and the space was there. Just a fantastic play from the Australian defender to break it up.
Yeah, zero hesitation in the decision making. That one always rising, and Dunmore got a hand to it, but it wasn't enough. It's one of the reasons why you don't necessarily mind taking the deep shots offensively, because an early error and you get yourself a short field. Brew will pick up in the red zone on that far sideline. Instantly tried to break it off, but there was not the right spacing or positioning with Lou. And Fowler shooting long, they've got that height mismatch deep. And Copland comes over the top of Lou for the score. That is now 10-4.
Yeah, nice defensive set from Australia in their red zone there. It seemed like they had 3 people surrounding the front of stack, which led to the turn. Brew just slightly missing on the reset, and then also led to a gender mismatch downfield. Lovely throw and a good safe catch from the offensive receiver. I think that was Tim Cleese Copeland.
This game has escaped away from Reading in quite a hurry, to be honest. It was 6-4, and they've now put 4 in on the bounce either side of 5-4, excuse me. So 5 on the spin either side of half time here for either side for the Barramundis. And that run is kind of, it feels like probably put paid to Reading's chances of victory in this game, because, you know, half an hour left and you do have enough time to eat at that deficit, but aside of the Barramundis' quality, you feel like with a 6-point advantage, they'd back themselves to close it out here 10 times out of 10.
Yeah, I think if you're Reading, you've really got to frame this as the result really doesn't matter. There's no impact of whether we win this game or lose. But got to take the chance to play against a team of this quality, because if Reading are looking to compete in Europe, they're going to have to play teams that are as good as the Barramundis. So yeah, hopefully can make the most of this. With
Reading missing some of their key pieces as well, of course, playing for GB Mix this weekend, then maybe you're giving other players opportunities to step up into bigger roles.
Yeah, fantastic experience against such a good team. And looking a little bit more calm in this offensive possession. Ooh, as I say it, commentator's curse.
Really tried to spear that one into Wong, and there was a little too much mustard on it. So Brereton marches to the front of the zone. And now Stoddard opens it up and guns it, looking for Davey. He tracked it well enough, but in the end, hits the floor despite wearing those gloves. Proof, as if he did it, that gloves are lame.
Yeah, friction glove catch of the week. Now it does boxes out well, but maybe on the recovery to go get the disc, just slightly off balance. Nice shot deep, nice offense from the Australian D-line again, but we'll see if Reading can find some more rhythm as they attack downfield here.
If you're wearing gloves, you got to be catching it. Otherwise, you're just opening yourself up for ridicule.
Exactly.
Wong to Kemp. Looks a little bit frustrated that there's not some more support. Kelsey. And now Greer with a riser that Kemp juggles but catches, circus style. Tay wanted to find Greer, but there's a pick. And it's going to go back.
Give me 10 seconds work now. We're playing on real. Let's go. Let's go.
Just checking to make sure that the disc is okay, not too warped. It seems fine from where we're sitting / standing on the sideline. Ash McInnes checking in on the force. Tay. Gets the break out to space despite the contact. And Greer continues to Wong. Wong to Kelsey. Looking for an aggressive option early, but swings to Wong instead. Redding taking it in pieces. All that throw from Kemp bladed. It was a tricky catch stuck at the end by Kelsey. It's going to go back in the end, but still, you've got to make sure that you catch it just in case.
Yeah, good grab to save possession there. Reading looking a little bit tired, lots of pressure being applied by the Australians, but Reading dealing with it well so far.
Kemp with a high release to Wong. A metre away, maybe less, but has to go back to Greer. Greer utilising the full 360, getting a little bit backwards on the pivot to create the angle and slicing the blade with the backhand down the line for the score.
Yeah, nice work from Reading. As we said, every point is an opportunity to play against great opposition. The Australians, even if they're letting people get a step or two, they're applying pressure on every single catch. So impressive from Reading to be able to fight through that pressure and still secure the goal.
Yeah, finally stopping a 5-point run for the Barramundis there, Reading. 45 minutes on the clock. Hooter goes at 70. So there is still time for Reading to begin to make a dent into this, and you take it on a point-by-point basis, then who knows? You might find yourself close enough by the time that Hooter goes to put yourself in position for a quite improbable comeback.
I've seen crazier things happen.
Greer on the assist, Pepe out with the score. Hogan's come over to sing the praises of his own defence. Beard looking very meticulously groomed. Although I will say the almost Aussie style sun cream across the face feels optimistic.
Yeah.
Halden wanted just to bounce it short with Evans. Shovels the backhand to Halden, and the return goes to Evans once more. Just crashing it through. Pass is not really going any further than a yard, but stoppage.
Yeah, I don't think there's any actual call there, just maybe a little bit of contact and subsequent confusion, but looks like people are going to agree to just play on. Pretty common occurrence when you have that many people in around the disc. But love the decision from Reading to throw a zone out there. Australia did start to look comfortable against the person defence, so nice to see them change it up and maybe catch Australia on the hop late in this game, see if they can put a string of breaks together.
It's going to go back to Howden. Was a real standout in Lunchbox's run to the semi-finals of the World Ultimate Club Championships a couple of seasons ago.
Should have been the finals. That mixtape game.
Well, had the bracket played out in a different way, could well have been a final. There's an argument that the 3 best teams in that tournament were all on the same side of the bracket. Which is a little bit unfair, but that's the way it goes sometimes, I'm afraid.
Yeah, win your games.
That is true. Howden back to Chodos. Howden, he's never static, is he? He's always doing something. And that one almost basically just dropped it into Evans' hands. Didn't even have to throw it, really. 11-5.
Yeah, Reading sticking with the zone all the way to the end zone there. Certainly from playing mix last year, one of the more difficult parts of defense was transitioning out of zones and finding the right gender matchups. So interesting to see them stick in it the whole way. But yeah, Holden really kind of taking over on that point, keeping the disc moving, using his legs and getting the just rewards with probably the easiest assist he'll ever throw in his life for a 1-yard goal there.
I've seen easier. We'll just walk it to the front of the line off this turnover. But there you go, done. But yes, certainly one of the simpler ones he'll ever throw. In a competitive setting, at least. You see the wind turbine in the background, just giving you a bit of an idea of the conditions here. On what is now about 12:30 local time here in the nation's capital. I say the nation's capital. Technically, it is. Is it the nation's best capital? I don't know.
Who else is in contention there for a non-Brit here?
Cardiff, Edinburgh, Belfast.
Okay,
I'll rule Belfast out because that's a whole kettle of fish I don't want to get into
that one. Yeah.
Yep.
Cardiff and Edinburgh. I like it.
Never been to Edinburgh, so I have no comment. And yeah, I feel like I am obliged to switch my allegiances to Cardiff now, although I am London proudly born and bred, although I would never go this far west of London normally. It's way too fancy for me out here. Hogan's being forced to hold it for a little bit. Finds Powell. Greer. With Hogan crashing through the front of this zone. He and Greer bouncing it back and forth, and Greer looked at his hands. How could they have betrayed him so?
Heartbreak.
Not sure he quite wanted to release that.
Ready behind! Yes, ready!
Copland doesn't care. He's rifling it deep off the turn. And full commitment from Michaela Dunmore, even if it came up empty.
Australia going back into the zone look.
Yeah, it can be difficult off the turn sometimes to get everyone set into position quickly enough, but they've done well. Looking a bit more expansive as they go across the field there to Powell. Hogan sees Hagan on the far side, catches well under pressure and then squeezed it past the mid in Copland, but unable to connect with Marcus Kelsey. Felt like the window was there, but they closed so fast against teams of this quality. That one, surely the big man Greer is going to get, well, more than a piece of it. He intercepted it in the end, and Kelsey was ready off the quick turn to collect the gift of the goal.
Yeah, that's why you put a D-line out there on O. If they do turn over, they're back in their wheelhouse. Greer reading the play nicely there, getting a hand on it, and then making the catch so that they could have the quick transition for the goal.
Yeah, Greer obviously really backed himself with that matchup. As soon as there's anything with a bit of air underneath it, almost becomes the favourite to get into position. And I like that he followed up and caught it, A, because there's no chance that they're going to get a bailout grab, and B, because already he's in a position to immediately get front foot off the turn. And they scored on the very subsequent pass. 11-6 though, the Barramundis still very much in the driving seat here. Into the women's division, by the way, for our next round today. That's the format we're going to see all day, is women's open mixed. We've got LMU taking on Gravity, both sides who had very solid victories in their first outings this morning.
Nice. That'll be a great game. I've seen those two teams battle a few times at UK Nationals, and it always seems to be a hotly contested affair, so excited to watch the stream for that one.
Yeah, they are certainly there or thereabouts at the business end of things. UK Nationals, which is a few weeks earlier this year, because of course it's no longer EUCR West.
Yeah, first year that we won't have to make the commute over to, I imagine it's in Nottingham, as always.
It is in Nottingham, yeah.
So
Highfield
no Irish
Sports
teams.
Complex. No, it's going to be weird without the Irish teams again, like the quote-unquote good old days. Here's Day as there's a stoppage downfield. Yeah, we kicked you out of Uni Nationals about a decade ago, and it looks like we're finally getting rid of you from Club Nationals again as well.
Yeah, it's a shame. It would have been nice to continue to try and push the British club teams and see if we could come away with a victory, but yeah, obviously some scheduling moving around due to the new ECS format as well as WC coming up. So,
and it was always funny to have, you know, the potential of an Irish team being the UK champion, as Gravity have been in the past. Here we go. Here's the score again from Day, shooting it bang down the sideline, and it was laser precise, fitting it in there to Stoddard for the score.
Yeah, lovely throw from Fisher Day.
Yeah, what you
finger guns.
Yeah, what you can't see on the other end is Day was doing the finger guns as well. So clearly some sharp shooting taking place between the Barramundis. Stoddard, the receiver there. Is he wearing the shorts of I-Beam, the club team from Newcastle, which is New South Wales, I think.
Okay.
My Australian geography is not brilliant. Which may surprise people. Well, I think it's sort of halfway between Sydney and Gold Coast, maybe.
Say slightly different weather to the Newcastle of the north of England.
And yet somehow the Newcastle in England has more shirtless people. Very curious.
And more belly tattoos as well, I'm sure.
My word, are there some belly tattoos? Got to be very bold. But if you're showing it off all the time, I mean, it feels like you've got to decorate it a little bit. Hogan catches the ball. He's trying to find space beyond that front line, and Greer tosses it up to him. Wong to Kelsey. Bouncing it with Hogan. Now trying to run through the front line, but they're just going laterally at the moment. A little bit of more dynamism to try and drive this forward. Because at the moment, I actually don't think the Barramundis mind that Reading are keeping possession as the old, oh, it's the throw and go, just without the throw, and Wong immediately knew that, oh yeah, that's about the most obvious travel you'll see this weekend.
I think a foul call downfield as well, a little bit overeager from the Australian Rove in the zone on Hogan, but
maybe that's why she holstered. Tay's trapped in a perilous position, somehow finds the thread through to Greer, and then Hogan to Wong. Wong towards the end zone. Oh, it was just a little bit behind Kemp, but they look like they'd finally found that seam they could continue pushing and exploiting. Just can't put the throw far enough in front. Agonising for the Brits.
Yeah, but that's a 99% of a goal, so I'm still pretty happy if I'm the Reading line there. Let's see if they can apply some pressure on defence now, but they did all the hard work, just a slight execution error on that last throw.
Yeah, fundamentally you solved that zone and you found your way through it.
Exactly.
You just didn't execute at the end. A foul there from Kemp on Fowler, at least that's the discussion.
Yeah, tough one there. One of those where both players are fighting for a pretty similar space, but hard to say when you are Kemp that you didn't make a little bit of, or initiate a little bit of that contact. So it looks like uncontested, and Fowler will pick up.
Yeah, it seems that he was at fault for that one, and the Barramundis now on this near sideline. Dunmore to Copland. Continuing to spread it wide. Ruiz. The Barramundis just running Reading a little bit ragged now, and that hammer really zinged and lasered over the top. Would have been some grab from Dunmore. Heck of a throw there from Fowler. Did not see that one coming, I'll be honest.
Yeah, really slides through the wind there. A tough one for the offensive receiver to read. You do have to attack it just in case the defender kind of undercuts the disc, but then you also have to recover over your head with a hammer. So little margin for error, so love to see the shot, but yeah, tough one for the receiver there.
Yeah, you could see it there begin to helix away at the end as well. This makes the task ever tougher. Hogan going with the overhead of his own on the scuba, but Calcian looked at the next pass, and when he did, he saw that he did not have the disc to make it. Copland picks up once more. Ramadan. So they continue all the way towards the far side, reaching Stagmode with the left hand there by Madeline Owens. Owens goes to Fowler in the backfield. Fowler ripping the inside through to Copland, and Copland continues out of Cook's hands.
Yeah, Fowler really ripping some throws here. It seemed like the offensive, oh, here we go, other way.
Yeah, Kelsey looking long, and Kemp gets behind Copland. He's only got Hogan for support. They've got the one-on-one in the end zone. Hogan just lofting that one up over the defender's head, and a bit of a marathon point comes to an end with Reading scoring from Hogan to Kemp.
Yeah, Kemp making the fantastic deep cut there. Hogan backing up, deciding maybe he didn't want to work all the way into the end zone, so offering himself as a little bit of a reset there, and then just picking his shot. It seemed like Copeland was maybe a little bit tired face guarding there, so Hoagie using all of his guile and experience just to float it out into a space where only his receiver could get it.
I mean, it's such a difficult position to be there as Copland as that lone defender when you've got the 2-on-1, because you know you have to take the runner there, and then how do you find a way to mark them out when there's no force so they just can go anywhere?
Yeah, you're really banking on just trying to read the offensive player's eyes, I guess, but with a thrower like Hogan, a receiver like Kemp, and all of the pitch to play with and no mark on, it's a pretty tough task. So I think Copland did well to make a couple moves, but Hogan always going to find Kemp in the end.
Yeah, I've forgotten that Hogan's legal first name was Hoagie. There's Kemp with the score, his first of the afternoon. Because it is the afternoon, a Gway and Rhett afternoon here, unfortunately, because the rain has begin to come down once more. Brew going for the rolling pull with the backhand. Day stops it somewhat elegantly, and Howden and Chodos immediately zip their way beyond midfield. Yoshida with that expressive flick fake. Doesn't see the little toss off. Instead, Howden, again, he's always throwing and going. He's never settled. And Howden today for the score. 13-7, Australia 2 away from the win, and they really raced through that Reading defence.
Yeah, they seem to have figured out their zone offence. Lots of movement from the handlers, I think. Really impressed with their ability to get the disc off the sideline when Reading are looking to trap some big expansive flick fakes, moving the mark well and then throwing inside. But yeah, running and gunning, not really letting the Reading zone have any chance to set up.
I think that's technically a travel at the end there from Howden when he's turning around, but no one really seemed to mind.
Yeah, I'm certainly in the camp of unless it really impacts the
points. No, I'm with you. I don't think it really had that much of a difference. Wearing those Pride wristbands on his sleeves, with the trans flag on the left and the kind of the general Pride flag on his right. And there's Day as well, who's been having an offensive impact too. It's been I think comfortable in the end for the Aussies. Just that long run they had either side of half has kind of put the game beyond Reading's reach, and they've just been able to pace themselves from that point.
Yeah, they'll be happy with this, as this is their first game of the day, so they'll be happy with their response to a tougher windmill. It's great to see, if you follow the Barramundis on Instagram, they really have a professional approach to this. They were at a team power session a couple days ago getting ready for this, so really taking this as I think what they would refer to as a pre-tour. And yeah, it seems like the preparation has really stood to them. Having a look at their next games, they're playing Deep Space next, so another British club team, and then the big one with GB Mix tonight.
Yeah, that showcase, 7:40 local time under the floodlights here at the Grasshoppers Rugby Club. Yeah, that'll be a fun, spicy atmosphere. Kemp thinks that was knocked out of his hands by Davey, and it is accepted, so it'll come back in on 1.
Rumours that DJ Salty is on the decks tonight at Grasshoppers RFC, so
I'm sorry everyone.
If anyone's in London, come down for a good time. But yeah, Reading with the disc outside the end zone here.
I won't tell you to bring your earplugs, but I won't not tell you that.
Expect lots of ABBA.
Oh, actually, take it all back, I'm in.
Yes.
Kemp finds a namesake. The elevator that's just shy of the end zone. Can Taylor find a way through? Trying to blade it down the line to Hagen. And you can see there that Stoddard thought about, can I get an arm over the top, but decided in the end that there's no way without creating the contact. And that little space was all Hagen needed for the score.
Yeah, lovely throw here down the line. Not always the easiest when your offensive cutter kind of closes out the gap. You can see the move to the front corner here. Makes the move pretty late to go down to the back corner. But number 22 with a lovely flick over the top and good feet from 63 to secure the goal.
So a couple of minutes and a couple of points left in this contest. We have that rarity in Ultimate where Reading will essentially be timed out here, which you don't often see this side of the Atlantic.
Yeah, good second half performance here from Reading though. I think it would have been easy going into half. 8-4 down, I think it was, maybe 8-5.
8-4, yeah.
Australia coming out then on offense to kind of acknowledge that the game had slipped away from them. But yeah, trading's out so far in the second half, it seems. Maybe one break for Australia, but a much better showing from Reading. And it's nice to see, you know, players that I wouldn't typically have seen on the Reading O-line being able to handle the zone calmly, to put in some points. Been really impressed by Kemp. Looked like a bit of a live wire out there. Both Kemps, in fact, have been impressive. And yeah, hopefully Reading can put a couple more points up on the board and make the scoreline look nice going into the next round.
You do have to view this a little bit pragmatically if you're Reading, that, you know, this is not the end goal as much as you want to win every game you're in, of course. It's about building towards a UCF at the end of the club season. You know, you've not got a full roster here this weekend because of GB Mixed, so, you know, you're getting players into other roles, maybe giving them a bit more leadership on and off the pitch. It's a good test, a good workout for you.
Huge pull.
That is a big old pull from Kalikio. Howden shooting it deep. Day's tracking this one well. Can't jump it into the end zone. Made the catch though, which is the most important thing. Going back to Howden, and Howden back today. The two of them eating pretty much the entirety of the yardage of that field, of the field on that 1 point. The first with the enormous deep shot, and then in the end, Day just dumps it back to Howden and gets it in for the score.
Yeah, lovely deep shot there. I think Day streaking deep, realising that he had a couple steps and calling the rest of his offensive counterparts under, creating a lot of space for Day to jog into that deep shot, and then easy goal at the end.
Well, this is why I love watching Howden play, because despite the fact that he threw that from pretty much end zone to end zone, who's the player there who collects the reset in the end? Or it's still Howden somehow. He just never stops.
Yeah, 2 assists from Howden so far for a total of maybe 4 yards. He certainly let some of the deep shots go, but hasn't been quite reaching the end zone. But as you said, always there backing up, making sure that he offers a reset option, and happy to take a couple of 2-yard pops for goals as well.
Yeah, I think if you do a little bit of stat line scouting, that you look at him and you say, okay, well, he's not exactly stuffing the stat sheets, although having a very good afternoon, but he is so often so instrumental in the way they operate, especially if they come up against non-one-to-one defences, that so often he's the one who's, you know, picking out their spaces and really just wrapping it through, zipping it around.
Yeah, very active. Looking to use legs to create some space, so certainly an impressive showing from Howden.
There's our adoring public in the background. Jose Espinosa and a baby Bignall, I think, as well. And maybe the child as well. Thank you. Time is over, so this will be the last point of the game. Pepiat. Going back to Hogan. Jams the hammer fake as they go all the way across towards the far side. Tay. Hogan tries to crash in there. Can Tay find the break off? She can. Now Graham Kemp to Marcus Kelsey. He's got a certain suddenness to him, Kelsey, that I like. Leading space throw there from Kelsey to Hogan. Is Reading trying to orchestrate the tempo to their whim here. Yeah, looking unflustered, unfazed. Blading around, can Hogan get it into the end zone? He can for the score to end the game. It's not going to be the victory for Reading, but nice to end it on a high anyway. Hogan with a little bit of fancy footwork there, but it will be Australia's game with a 14-9 final score. Good value for it, I think, Smurf.
Yeah, really interesting game there. Lovely to see Reading push. Really impressed with some of the female matching players being able to get it out of some tough spots on the sideline. And Hoagie with the Billy Elliott dancing feet at the ends for a nice way to wrap up for Reading. It seems like there's a little bit of confusion.
Yeah, I definitely heard the end of game go. No, they've somewhat subsequently got the message. So there will be the little slap of hands now, and they'll go into their post-game spirit circle. Here we are. Here are the match stats for you. No breaks for Reading compared to 5 for the Barramundis. Yeah, they could probably hit a little bit more on those break chances. I think it's generally one of the themes we've seen throughout this weekend, is that teams probably not converting those at the ratio that they would like.
Yeah, but as much as that doesn't look great on the breaks for Reading, they were so close a couple times.
Yeah, they were.
Just needed to find that last pass. So, look, I think if I'm either team, I'm happy with that performance. Good start to the weekend and 4 more games to go. So, nice, entertaining one for us, and good game for both the Barramundis and Reading.
Yeah, moving into the women's division with our next round, we have LMU taking on Gravity in about 8 minutes' time. Thank you from all of us here and our wonderful ULTI.TV crew at the Grasshoppers Rugby Club. For Sam Murphy alongside me, Benji Reese here at the London Invite. We'll see you on the other side.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Merci beaucoup.
Yeah, Milan. I mean, Ultimate.
ULTI.TV.